Hey guys, welcome to tonight's stream. I am just wrapping something up real quick because that 5 minutes goes by way too quick. And I gotta get this saved so I don't lose it. Because that would be horrific if I lost it. And that's gonna go out at 4 p.m. All right, upload. All right, so tonight we are taking a look at, well, you can see this big monstrosity is on my desk. No, it is not the CR-10v3. The CR-10v3 would not fit on this desk. This is the CR-10v3 with the Titan Direct Drive extruder that has a clogging issue. Now, I know some of the members, like Shaka and stuff like that, have had similar issues with this printer. And we are going to take this guy apart and see if we can get down to the bottom of what is going on with even mine. Now, I will warn you, some heads up before we get started. This poor little guy also has an ailing fan in the control box. The fan is on order, it has not arrived. I've replaced this fan once before, and now we're having issues with it again. So a new fan is on the way, probably just a bad bearing in the fan, it happens. So that is on the way to become a replacement. So you're gonna have to bear with me. There is gonna be a bit of noise, a bit of grindingness sound. Sean, thanks for saying sweet. I'm hoping you enjoy what I do here tonight with this, because this is gonna be kind of a difficult thing to truly show because of tight components and different things like that. So, but I wanna try to figure out this guy, and one of the things that can go wrong with this printer specifically is, a lot of people go direct drive because there's no bowden tube. Well, that's not exactly true with direct drives. There's a bowden tube in here, and it very much could be melted and be part of the problem. So I'm wanting to get in there and take a look and see what is really going on and see if that is my true problem. So we're going to take the entire assembly off. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to heat it up and we're going to get that nozzle off. And then we're going to take a look at it. And guys, remember, if you're taking a look at this and you're popping in, hit that thumbs up button, help stream out. I really do appreciate that. So first thing I'm going to do is we're going to power this on and we're going to get this nozzle off. And there you can hear it. The alien fan. That with a little bit of a boop gets a little quieter. So we're going to hopefully not have to have this powered on for too long. What I need to do, anytime you're taking a nozzle off, you got to preheat the printer. So we got to get that nozzle good and hot, but also at the same time, I'm going to move the Z-axis up so I can get in there a little bit better. Using the old time IT technique of whap it. And it helps a little bit when you do. So, all right, so that's raised up. We're waiting for the nozzle to heat up. And my favorite way of getting a nozzle off is a deep well socket. So I just can't remember if I need the 7 or the 6 millimeter. Get that keyboard out of the way here. Pretty sure I need the smaller one. So one thing I need to do is get the silicone sock off here so I can actually get to the nozzle. So I need to expose it, which I have done. There we go. So we got that off. I'm just gonna throw him back there. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut that zip tie off. And all that zip tie was doing was holding my filament, guide. So I 3D printed a piece to hold my filament sensor, which is what this guy is. Instead of it being mounted up here, I moved it down here on the device. So everything sounds like it's heating up. There we go. So we're just waiting for it to get to temperature, which guess what it is. So I'm gonna take my deep well socket here. I'm gonna go in underneath. I know you guys can't see. And I'm gonna get it on that socket. I'm gonna get that nozzle out. Maybe. Ah, there it goes. All right. So, but I'm also going to pull the piece of filament that didn't come out. So that's not good. So this poor little printer, like I said, it's been ailing. So we're going to give it a new nozzle. We're going to clean the bowden tip. And you guys can see, just looking in there, we're clogged all the way at the nozzle. So don't touch the nozzle. That thing's at 185 degrees. Then I'm going to cool the printer down. So we're going to cool it off. But while that cools off, I can start taking the direct drive extruder off. If I can find the right Allen wrench. I'm going to undo the 4 bolts here. So that I can take this clear plastic panel off. And slide the Titan drive extruder off. Now, this bottom bolt right here, it's not going to come out. It's going to get butted up against the casing of the actual carriage. That's fine. Just get it loose. That's all you got to do. Because the other side will come out all the way, and then as you slide this back, that will come free. I'm actually going to turn the printer off. I am going to still be very careful because I know that hot end is still hot. I don't know anything about the Anycubic Viper. I have not had a chance to try it out, so I can't give you a fair recommendation on the Viper. I wish I could, but I can't because I've never used it. And I forgot on the Titan, there is a bolt back here that holds it in place. So we'll get that bolt off. All right. So now we're going to just slowly wiggle the extruder back. And there you go. We're off. We have now exposed it. Now I'm going to take a look at the extruder. I don't see anything causing me concerns. The gear looks a little gunky, but nothing that would make me think this thing's about to break on me. So I want to put the plastic cover back in place so my spring doesn't pop off on me. So I'm just going to put my springs and stuff in, and I'm going to let this guy hang to the side here. Because we don't need him right now. He's done. He's clear and free of the problem. Now what we need to do is get into this guy's problem. Now remember how I talked about there's a bowden tube in here? There is. And we're going to get it out. It could just be a weird fan. Like I said, I just don't know. I haven't run an Anycubic Viper at all. I've not used one, so I can't fairly judge it. Looky there. There's a bowden tube in there. Huh. So not all direct drive extruders don't have bowden tubes. The new CR-M4 and Ender 3 S1 Pro, they don't have this. But these do. These older printers have this, and it's really kind of sucks that there's still a bowden tube, because this can become your problem, as it is in our case. So we're going to replace this. Then we're going to put a new nozzle on, and we're going to put our printer back together, and hopefully she behaves herself. So don't lose this piece. This goes to your Titan extruder to make sure your filament goes into this guy correctly, which this guy is just plain stuck in there. So we're going to have to get that out. Boom, we're out. but you can see it was doing some weird stuff. It was clogging, it was heating, and it just wasn't getting through this tube down to the printer. So we're going to replace that with some better tubing tonight. Now, one of the things I will say about this is make sure you're putting the right type of bowden tube in, and make sure you're using a bowden tube cutter. I can't stress that part enough. Don't cut your bowden tubes with this. Don't do it. You're not going to get a straight cut. So cut it with a bowden tube straight edge cutter. And I'm about to show you one. Now, this little kit comes from Creality. It's a really good kit, but here's a bowden tube cutter. You put your tube there, and that straight razor gives you a clean, perfect cut. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to pull this bowden tube out, which is nice because they give you excess. This is for 1.75, I think is what it is. And don't always trust that that end is perfect. Matter of fact, I don't want it to be perfect because of what I'm about to do. I'm going to make sure there's no filament stuck in there. So I have to turn on the ugly sound machine. Oh, I can't wait till that new fan arrives. But I am going to, again, heat the printer up. Because what I'm going to do, and actually I'm going to go ahead and cut this piece off because I don't have a piece down here for that. But what you do is you get your bowden tube in there, you get it straight, and then all you got to do is press down, and you get a perfect clean cut. You want that flat cut because when you push that in there and it gets against the nozzle, you want that to be flush against that nozzle so filament can't leak out. Sounds pretty straightforward, right? But yeah, this poor thing, I know exactly which fan it is. I just have to wait for the new one to arrive. All right, so we're pretty much up to heat. So I'm going to use this scrap piece because this piece was not flush. I'm just going to shove it through. And what I'm doing is I'm looking for debris. And you guys can see it just pulled right through. I didn't pick up any gunk or material. So that tells me that is free of bad things, which is what we want. All right, so next step, new nozzle. I'm gonna get my socket. And I always do the nozzles when it's hot. Don't ever do a nozzle cold. You will break something. I get that in there just tight enough. Pull that off. All right, we got our new one in there. Next is the bowden tube. So I know this end, I've got a perfectly flush straight cut, but I need a certain measurement here. And to do that, I'm gonna grab an X-Acto knife, and I am going to take my bowden tube and I'm gonna push it in. And then I'm going to make a divot. I'm not gonna cut it, I'm gonna make a divot. I'm gonna pull that back out. So that's where I need to cut this. Again, I take the flush cutter, I cut my tube flush. I take the piece that I just cut, and I'm gonna put it in there, and I'm gonna put it in there. I'm gonna screw that guy back down. And that should put enough tension between that piece of bowden tube and the printer and the nozzle. So I should get free filament flow right there. So then what I've got to do is I got to bring this piece back and put it in position. Then I got to take my, and actually I'm going to cool my printer off because I don't need it hot while I do this part. I'm going to take my glass off, the plastic piece off for the moment, because what I've got to do is I've got to bring the Titan extruder back over to the printer. I got to get it lined up here, and I'm sorry, I know you guys can't see. Well, actually, let's try this. All right, so I got to get it lined back up. Nope, that camera's not working. So I got to get it lined back up on here, but I got to get this piece in a certain groove. And you'll see it if you're doing this. And it slides back into the extruder, and that slides right back on. But I've made a mistake because I need to put the glass piece back on real quick. And I need to get this bolt right here back in its hole. If I don't get it back in its hole now, I'll have to take it all back apart, which is looks like where I was almost going to be cruising, was that take it back apart to get it right, but I got lucky. The Neo. I don't think I have that. I don't think I've worked with that one yet. So if it's anything like the S1 Pro in the build or the Ender 3 original, bed springs. That's always my first upgrade. I get a harder set of bed springs, and I'll have to look that printer up. CBs, go ahead and email me at mike@rise3dprinting.com, and I'd be glad to give you some advice and help on tips there. Or always leave comments in the videos, and I can help you out that way too. Because really, the problem with this printer, I don't feel is at the extruder level here. It's at the hot end level. So filament is flowing. You can see that, but it stopped flowing. And I think that was being caused by the bowden tube just getting to where filament couldn't flow. And actually, if you get the light just right, you can see where there's the clog filament and then just filament backflow because it was getting clogged up. So just kind of one of those things. This stuff happens very commonly with the non-Titan extruders, but a lot of people don't realize that the CR-10v3 has a bowden tube, and it can get melted and it can be a problem, and that's what's happening here. At least what I think is happening is this poor printer is just getting clogged, and we're going to get him reassembled here and get him ready to be run, I hope. Now, unfortunately, I won't be able to run it here live. And if you guys want to see the fan replacement, make sure you're hitting down in the comments down below that you want to see that. And maybe when the new fan comes in Saturday, I will maybe sneak a live stream in or something. We will see. So I've got a bolt back here I got to put back on. This bolt is always the nightmare child one because there's a lip back here that makes it really hard to get at the fitting. Like right there, I've already lost it trying to get in there. So it is kind of a painful one to work with, but if you can get it in there, it will be your friend. All right. So now the Titan drive extruder, it's in there, it's stuck. But yeah, anytime you're working with any printer that has a bowden tube, always use a straight cutter. Do not use your pliers to cut bowden tube. You will not get a flush cut. This guy gives you a flush cut. And what's nice is Creality sells a bowden tube kit with the Capricorn bowden tube, new fittings, and this guy comes in it. I think this thing was like 15 bucks. So not a very expensive kit. So now I've got a new nozzle. Unfortunately, my silicone sock is shot, but I've got more of those upstairs. And they're nice to have. You don't exactly have to have one, but you guys can see the old nozzle, it was clogged to tar as well. So, which, if the printer runs for a while it's clogged like that, this will burn up and heat up and clog, and then you've just got a big infernal mess that no one's happy. But that should, unfortunately, I don't have any filament in here either. I just realized I didn't bring any. So you guys can hear that fan. Like I said, if you want to see that change, make sure you hit me in the comments. I want to see it change live. I have no problem doing it live, but I know I'm being hidden here by the bars and all that. This guy's about to leave the desk. We're about to move on to the Battlestar stuff. Another tool that can be very good, especially with these direct drive extruders, is called a no clogger. Basically, you can stick it through, and push out whatever's clogging it up. They work really well on my Odins, but if you've got the long bowden tube, it really doesn't work. You got to start then dismantle it all, and yeah. But give me one moment while I get this moved off my desk. And we will move to the Battlestar stuff. All right. And I just made a mess. That's the second time I did that tonight. So let me clean that up real quick. Oh. Nothing like making a mess live, right? So what's everybody up to? Where's everybody from that's out there right now? Let's get some real good conversations going. Hey Douglas, long time no see, man. Glad to see you join the stream tonight. You just missed all the let's fix Mike's printer problem. Sorry for the sound. All right. Oh. All right. Printer fixed, printer gone. All right. Now, Minnesota, you are probably buried in the cold. Nice, Douglas. Glad to see work's moving in. Now see, Mr. Midden, I disagree. I like the glass build plates. I'm actually more of a fan of the glass than I am of the magnetic ones. But everybody to their own. Glass has worked well for me, but like the CR-10v3 and the Ender 3S1 Pro both came with the magnetics, and I like them too. So, I mean, it's to his own. Which one do you prefer? A lot of people I know are switching to the magnetic sheets. But me personally, I like glass. I do like glass. It is kind of nice, and it can sometimes help a leveling issue. But the new printers are all pretty much coming with CR Touch or BL Touch or whatever they are anymore. I mean, this new CR-M4 that I just been working on, It's great. It doesn't even have springs. The bed is completely solid, so there's no bed leveling other than the automated leveling, which is really cool. Yeah, I'll agree, Mr. Metal. But one thing I will say about the magnetic sheets, I like them especially better if I'm doing PETG. Because PETG is a great way if you got it on there too tight to break glass. Yeah, the CR Touch. So it's very similar to what sounds like the Ender 3S1 Pro. Is kind of what the Neo is sounding like. Which unfortunately my S1 Pro, I've already had to order replacement parts. Let's put it that way. That's for another stream. But for my Galactica fans, I know we've been working on the 78, and quite frankly, I need to take a break from the 78. But I've been cleaning up my garage, waiting for the new garage door. And I forgot, and I had done a video on it too. I printed a Valkyrie. So now this is not to scale. You guys can see it's actually very mono detail on the bottom. We can fix that though. But I was starting to think about working on this Valkyrie when I noticed too that it had suffered a broken piece. So the Dremel and pliers may come out and we may have a battle damaged Valkyrie. Interesting that my compressor all of a sudden thought it had to come. Mr. Midden, that's exactly the problem I've got right now. Mine blobbed and broke the, are we about done yet? What are we doing here? It broke the thermostat wires. Luckily, that's a really simple fix now on the Ender 3S1 Pro if you can get the part in. And luckily my part is has arrived, so that may be another stream. Just kind of depends when I get to it, because it was really interesting how that one was just bizarre. It blobbed, but enough that it was moving the build plate that it undid the screws and the things fell off. And oh man, it was quite spectacular what that thing did. So I was pretty impressed. So yeah, I was pretty impressed on how that thing could fall apart like it did. A little scary, but now I've got the CR-M4 in place. It has arrived in the print shop. That's how good this machine actually is it got to go into my print shop. It is becoming a standard printer for me to use, which is awesome, because I am usually not a fan of automated leveling. I usually don't like it. I usually don't recommend it. It took me a while to get this one Z-step calibrated. But once I got it zeroed in, I've had some really good prints. I'm still zeroing in the profile. So that is something I'm still working on, and probably will have a conversation about coming up on how I made my profile. Because Creality gives you their Creality software, and finding all the stuff in there and all that can be a real pain. But, you know, I figured it out. So definitely kind of a cool thing. But I did find room. It's actually where that V3 was living. But I've had nothing but problems with that V3, because you guys could hear the fan and the control box is just shot, which is disappointing because I just replaced it. But also constant clogging, which upon opening it up and seeing that piece of bowden tube, pretty much the bowden tube is the issue. Now, like the Ender 3S1 Pro, the CR-M4, they don't have that bowden tube piece. Well, Mr. Midden, if I can be of any help, definitely let me know. I've been doing this for quite some time, and there's good printers, there's bad printers. The Ender 3S1 Pro has me kind of scared, because I haven't even gotten 3 hours of build time, and have only gotten it to print the Creality test prints. So it's kind of a little horrifying. Where the CR-10v3, I cruised right through the test prints. I've made my profile. Actually, that paint rack I've made on the CR-10v3. Actually, I can bring this over. It's not assembled. But yeah, I've already made this basically big enough for the Tamiya paints on the CR-10v3 after a few prints. I mean, she started rocking right away. I got to figure out, I got to change some of my retraction settings to get rid of the stringing, but that project is coming right along. Get rid of the kiss here from the Z-axis of the CR-10. Nice tattoos. Those sound that sounds horrifying. I could never do that. It's just not a thing. Needles, no. The only needles I'll play with are the needles in here that press out my paint. So, but are you guys interested in me also doing the paint job on the Valkyrie? Definitely leave comments down below if we want that to be another stream. I definitely will consider doing the Valkyrie. We can do a lot of it just right here thanks to the expanded paint booth that I put in. We can airbrush right here, which is really nice. So, but yeah, the V3, so the CR-10 V2s are usually I love them. The V2s, I love. Something's kind of gone on and I got clogs in both of them. That was a little weird. But we're having some weather shifts and stuff like that. Like today, it got up to, we didn't even make 60 today, which is weird. Mr. Men, really, how many printers do you have? Let's have the anonymous group here. Come on. I mean, I'm hoarding 20 in this house, so come on, you can't be much worse than me. And all but 3 of them are currently functioning. So I've got a lot going on. Mythosaur skull with fire behind it. Ooh, that sounds interesting. But when it comes to 3D printers, I think I talked about this last week when we were working on the Ender 3, ripping it back, that, you know, it becomes an addiction, but it also becomes viability. Printers become more and more and more as you use them and go through them. So, yeah. Thinking, uh-oh. That can't be good if you're having to think about how many printers you have. Steven, 10 printers? Yeah, that's a pretty good amount. Now, I will fully admit my printers are kind of half and half resin and filament. So 12, you're not in the danger zone like me. I'm in the danger zone and I'm looking for more. So, I mean, I'm looking for new, interesting adventures. I've been looking at I think it's E3D Make. They're 17-inch resin. I'm kind of like, oh, that printer looks pretty. But just kind of looking at what the new one's coming out, the CR-10v3. I mean, that thing was brand new when I got it. It was just released when it came out. I think that 17-inch printer comes out in May is when it'll be available. Yeah, the Ender 3s, they always need rebuilds after you use them. The Prusias, yeah, they get plugged. You ought to look at the no clogger tool. I use that one a lot on my my Prusia MK3 Plus. I just pull the filament and right down to the direct drive extruder and clean that guy out and wham bam right back to printing in about 5-10 minutes. whenever it clogs up, which actually I need to go do that because I had a pretty long job going. So yeah, I mean, I've got a spattering of almost everything up in the shop. I've got a little bit of Illigu. I got Prusia. I've got, shoot, what all do I have in the shop? A lot of Creality on the FDM side. I've got one Creality resin. Frozen is my main resin brand. I really like their equipment. I've got an Illigu Saturn S, which, I mean, it's still working like a champ because, I mean, this is with frozen resin, but I mean, she's doing heck of good prints. Yeah, upgrading to the Max is crazy, but yeah, the frozen printers, the Mega and the Mighties are good. Illigu Saturn S, you still get great prints. Frozen resin is my jam. I love frozen resin. I've got my profiles for everybody dialed in. I'm really kind of loving how they're working. What else? The Anycubic M3 Max. I hated that printer when I first got it. And I mean, I hated it. I couldn't get anything to print well. It was always warped or some weird stuff going on. And after we moved, and I'm kind of like, it's a 13-inch build plate. It could be really useful if I can get it to work. Well, I figured it out. It was a build plate. It was warped and wasn't sitting down properly. And you couldn't see it when you were leveling it because it looked level on the outside. It was on the inside. It was warped up. So it had basically a cone in it and would not let stuff grab the build plate because it wasn't sitting flush. Bought a new build plate. It was like 65 bucks. I'm sure I could have gone to them and requested a new one and gone through the rigmarole. It was faster to order one and get one here. Ever since I put that new build plate in, boom, boom, boom. Great prints. The Focus Odins. Focus Odins are, I really wish Focus would make a bigger printer. I love my Odins. I've got one that's broken a belt. If that tells you how much I use it, it broke a belt. It broke a belt. I mean, I wore out a belt on it. I use these things so much. The Odins, everything else FDM is Creality though. I do have an Anycubic Chiron that has not gotten to grace the print shop. Let's put it that way. It may go find a new home. The Photon Mono X. There's one that begins with a B. I've got their printer too, and it's a little 6-inch resin printer. I don't even use it anymore. It's just not up to par with, ever since getting the frozen printers, they just don't hold game. The frozen printers just blow it out of the water. The 9-inch or the 13s, and I'm really kind of hoping frozen turns around and goes, hey, oh, there's a 17 on the market. Gotcha. Kind of hoping they do that too, but you guys will definitely have to stick tuned for if the M3 passed the clogging issue or not. My hope is, please pass. I want you back in my shop. It's a little concerning, my compressor kicking on like this. Something's wrong, and I found the issue. The airbrush came loose. Fixed. So hopefully that'll shut up soon. But unfortunately, I know this had to be a short stream tonight. That's why I chose to do the repairs and ask the question on the Valkyrie. So if you guys want me to paint the Valkyrie on stream, definitely leave it down in the comments down below. If you guys are watching, come on, let's hit that thumbs up button. Douglas, good to see you, man. I hadn't seen you in a couple streams. Starting to wonder. I figured you were probably working. Which, glad to see you back to work, man. I'm glad. I know that's been a thing for you for a while. And yeah, so that's kind of it. Next week, there will be no stream. I'm going to try to eke a stream in over the weekend to kind of compensate. I'm traveling next Tuesday, so I won't be able to live stream. So just kind of a warning on that there will be no stream next Tuesday, but we will resume the following Tuesday as usual. So Hopefully you guys are looking forward. This Friday's video is a little different. I know I did a video a couple weeks ago on a friend of mine. His book is released. And basically I got to sit down and have an interview with him as we talk about painting, 3D prints, and different things like that, because Joe uses me as his 3D printer. I do his 3D prints. So Joe is a very good friend of mine. So hopefully you guys enjoy the videos. We kind of talk some of his backstory, getting into painting, talk about paints and technique and different things like that. So that'll be coming up this Friday. I'll try to get a stream in. Maybe we'll do the fan replacement if it comes in time over the weekend, and we'll open up the control box and get a look at that thing's brains. The fan replacement is really simple. It's actually one fan I've already replaced. So I just got to put a new one in. So remember, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you guys need any help, you can always reach out to me in the comments or email me at mike@rise3dprinting.com for any help. And as always, if you can and you want to support and back the channel, consider hitting that membership button down below and becoming a member and help us out, as that membership money goes to helping us get new toys, new things, and bringing them here to the channel to try out and explore. Because I think it's Creality just released a new 3D, or is releasing a new 3D scanner. Looking to try to get my hands on that and just kind of other stuff. So thank you guys. You're always awesome. And I appreciate everybody that comes and joins the stream and hangs out and talks with me while we sit here and do all this kind of fun stuff. Remember, this is also streamed over on Twitch as well. If you're not following over there, please go give a follow. That helps out. You can hear Eva ruffling around in the background back there. And as always, I appreciate everybody, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks for sure on Tuesday, 8:15 Eastern time. We'll catch you in that stream. I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time.